Welcome to another edition of English Makes No Sense, right here on the English Makes No Sense YouTube channel. It is I, SL Rockfish, your happy hostess. So glad you could join me. Today we're going to have some fluency fun. Yeah, we're going to read a story that has English and a few Spanish words in it. Because I'm trying to learn more Spanish, and I would like to show you how easy it is to practice another language or practice just reading any language out loud by going to the library or to the bookstore and getting some fun books that are easy to read and kind of interesting. And that's what I did. So if today is your first day, please hit subscribe if you like it. Here was what we do. Some days I do a reading with Rockfish. That's what I did way back when I started. Or we do some grammar lessons, pronunciation problems. Oh, we do so much. Take a look at all the videos. If you want a shorter version of me, and I understand you're busy, 60 seconds on TikTok at English Makes No Sense, maybe a minute and a half on Instagram at English Makes No Sense, and I got some Facebook stuff at English Makes No Sense. It's a pattern. And then most of my videos end up with, what? Come on, English. So let's begin. I don't really do that on a fluency day, but let's begin reading. The day Abuelo got lost. See what I have up there? Add your own words. The word abuelo, Spanish for grandpa. My neighbor, she's from Germany. Her grandkids called her Oma. So we had Oma and Abuelo on the street. So you can see how we can put our own words, our different words from our native tongue, or if we're learning a new word. I'm trying to learn Spanish, so sometimes I throw Spanish words into my sentences. It's just good practice and fun. So let's begin. The Day Abuelo Got Lost by Diane de Anda, illustrated by Aliana Harris. I went to the biblioteca, the library, to get it. The Day Abuelo Got Lost. It sounds sad. Sometimes grandparents get lost. Abuelo has lived with me, Mama, and Papi all my life. The four of us have always been La Familia. There we go. Another, we were just throwing in La Familia. You can put different words in practicing. After school, before my parents got home from work, was Abuelo's and my special time together. We built model planes, cars, and boats on the work table in the garage. Work table, a compound word, meaning where you do your work. This piece goes here, Luis, Abuelo said. Then he smiled as he watched me glue it in place. It'd be so nice to have a grandparent help you out. My grandparents lived far away. Sometimes Abuelo spread paper across the work table, and we painted together. I painted houses and trees, and Abuelo put in all the people. Here's your mama with her long hair and your papa with his hat. Here I am with my mustache, and there you are, Luis, with your big smile, he said. Now, I'm going to come in there so you can see. Okay? Sometimes he drew our big brown dog, Sancho. Big brown dog. Big and brown, adjectives describing the noun dog. Hey, we threw a little grammar in there. Afterward, Abuelo made quesadillas for us to snack on. I love quesadillas. He laughed when I nibbled on the cheese that oozed out all over my fingers. I'm from Wisconsin. We know cheese. Then he told me stories about his adventures with his dog Cafe when he was a little boy in Mexico. Grandparents sharing stories is the best. After a while, Abuelo couldn't remember how the pieces fit together, so we stopped building models. But we still painted, side by side. See, Abuelo's getting a little older. There he is. Then Mama said we couldn't use the stove anymore because Abuelo kept forgetting to turn it off. So we made peanut butter and jelly sandwiches together instead. Uh-oh. Abuelo's getting forgetful. Tell me a story about you and Cafe, I begged. Abuelo started telling his stories, but would get confused and stop in the middle. He'd wrinkle his forehead and think really hard, then look around, put Sancho on the top of his head and say, oh, Pat, Sancho, I made a mistake. Pat Sancho on the top of his head and say, good boy, Cafe. Oh no, he's forgetting who Sancho is. We still painted on the workbench together, but he called me Chico instead of Luis. I wanted to say, Abuelo, don't you remember my name is Luis? But I didn't. No, you don't want to upset your abuelo. One day when I came home, Abuelo was not there. No está aquí. No está ahí. Does that work? Let me know. I looked in the garage and I called for him all through the house, but he did not answer. Oh no. Where did he go? Mama talked to the neighbors, then stayed home and waited for him. Papa and I got in the car and drove up and down streets looking for him. That means they went this way and that way. They drove up the street and down the street. It's a different way to use up and down instead of like this. We found Abuelo standing on a corner a few blocks away, looking all around. He looked upset and called Papi Señor instead of hijo. Look at Spanish words. Señor instead of hijo. He doesn't know his son. Everything changed the day Abuelo got lost. Now he stays in a different house during the day with other abuelos and abuelas and people who take care of him, so he won't get lost again. Abuelos and abuelas being taken care of. Sometimes we have to do that. But at the end of the day, Papi brings him home. Abuelo is tired and falls asleep for a while in his chair when he gets home. Mama covers him with a quilt. Sometimes when he wakes up, he looks upset and isn't sure where he is, but Mama talks to him in a soft voice until he feels better. That's so nice. It's sad, but it's nice that he has family. That doesn't always happen. Then I take his hand and say, let's paint, Abuelo. He looks down at me and smiles as we walk together to the workbench. I hand him his paintbrush. He nods and says, gracias, Chico. It's a little sad. Mama says, Luis, Abuelo will have more and more trouble remembering things and recognizing people. Maybe even you, but he will always be able to feel our love. Es verdad. So I pick up my paintbrush and sit next to him. He smiles and we paint together. Abuelo and me, his Chico. There's Sancho, but he might think it's Cafe. Ta-da! Here's the dedication. Dedicated to the memory of my abuelo, my great-grandfather Pedro, who enriched my childhood years. He had a great-grandfather. Oh my goodness, she had her great-grandfather. I only knew one of my grandfathers. So if you have a grandfather, hold them tight. Un abuelo, I don't know how to say it in another language. But I hope you saw how easy it is to put words that you're familiar with in your sentences. So practice your fluency if you want to rewind and watch, or if you just want to have someone read a book to you, watch it again, okay? Hope you had a great day. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you want to see. Leave comments and feedback below. And remember, have an awesome day. And yeah, I do have something on my lip. I cut my lip. I fell. Ow! But that's okay. Talk to you later, my friends. Peace.